Most founders believe they hit a revenue ceiling because they lack the right strategy. In my experience, that's rarely the real reason. The real reason is psychological resistance. It's the internal battle that stops you from taking the actions that would actually move your business forward. And if you're a founder who feels capable of more, but somehow your business keeps hitting the same ceiling, then this video is for you. Because I spent more than a decade stuck in the exact same pan. And what finally helped me break through had nothing to do with another marketing strategy or another business tactic. It had everything to do with understanding the psychological battle happening inside of me. For most of my business life, my revenue kept oscillating. Sometimes things were moving forwards and then suddenly things would stall. Sometimes it even felt like the business was heading towards disaster. And each time that happened, I noticed something about myself. Instead of leaning into the actions that could move the business forward, I would pull back. My mind would start running survival scenarios. What if this fails? What if my business goes wrong? So I started playing a defensive game in my business. I would only take actions that felt safe. I avoided decisions that carried real risk. If success wasn't guaranteed, I would often delay the action or avoid it completely. Which meant that most of the time I was running my business just to survive, not to grow, not to break through, just to survive. The real breakthrough in my business came when I finally recognized this pattern. The problem wasn't the market, it wasn't the strategy, it was me. I was unconsciously resisting the very actions and decisions that would move the business forward. Once I understood that, everything started to change. Most founders believe the problem is the strategy. They think they need a better marketing plan, a new business model, another mentor. But the deeper problem is usually psychological. There is a conflict happening inside the founder. One part of you knows the action that needs to be taken, and another part of you creates resistance. And that resistance shows up as hesitation, procrastination, avoidance, overthinking, or staying busy with the wrong work. So the real question is not, do you know what to do? The real question is, why are you not doing it? And the answer usually lies in psychological resistance. So let me share with you a simple process that I teach founders to help them to break through this revenue ceiling. Before we go further, let me quickly mention something. If you recognize yourself in what I'm describing, if you feel like you are capable of more in your business, but something keeps holding you back, I've created a free masterclass that will help you win the psychological battle behind execution. You can access it through the link in the description below. Let's jump into the process that I teach entrepreneurs to help them break through in their business. You'll need something to write on. I promise if you do the exercise, you'll begin to gain hope that you can create the business breakthrough that you want. You will break through the revenue ceiling when you create the breakthrough in your own psychology. So for the first step to breaking through a revenue ceiling is awareness. You'll need to see how you might be unconsciously holding yourself back from taking the very actions and decisions that would move your business forward. So here's a very simple exercise. Take a moment and imagine the actions or decisions that would actually create the breakthrough in your business. Imagine it. The big ones, the uncomfortable ones, the ones you've probably been delaying. Now notice what happens inside you when you imagine taking these actions. This is where resistance lives. You may notice thoughts like, what if this fails? What if this doesn't work? What if I get this wrong? Write these thoughts down. Pause this video if you need to. Now, notice the emotions in your body. The fear, the anxiety, the doubt, the guilt. Scan your body for the sensations and feelings in your body. Write these emotions down. What are these sensations? Now look at the behaviors that follow. These behaviors often look productive on the surface, right? But secretly, they keep moving you away from the actions that would actually create real results in your business. Now, write these behaviors down. These behaviors are the ones that don't move the business forwards. When you begin to gain awareness of what's happening inside of you, you'll begin to piece together your psychological resistance signature, is what I call it. Understanding this first step is the step to breaking free in your business. Now, let's move on to step number 2, neutralization. Once you see the resistance, the next step is neutralization. Most people try to fight this resistance, but that usually makes it stronger. There is an old adage that goes, what you resist will persist. Neutralization means you stop fighting the resistance. Instead, you become present with it. You allow the emotions. You observe the thoughts. When you stop running from resistance, something interesting happens. It begins to lose its power over you. Your nervous system settles. You begin to have intuitive insights about why you haven't managed to create a breakthrough in your goal. The truth will surface, and the psychological threat that once felt overwhelming begins to dissolve. This is where your attention begins to shift from the unconscious to the conscious. You move from survival-based thinking to making a conscious choice. Now, step number 3, execution. And now we arrive at the moment where the rubber meets the road. Because ultimately, action is the end product of your psychology. If the action never happens, nothing changes. But when you become aware of resistance and learning how to neutralize it, something will shift. Momentum will start to begin to build. Now you can take the action that previously felt impossible, or sometimes the resistance just falls away completely. Other times you're simply aware of it, but you can act anyway. Either way, the unconscious dynamics begin to lose their grip. And once execution changes, business results begin to change, right? Here is the uncomfortable truth that most founders eventually discover. The real reason you have not created the breakthrough in your business is really the market. It's really the strategy. More often than not, it is the battle that you are fighting with yourself. And the moment you learn how to win this battle, your level of execution changes. And when execution changes, the trajectory of your business changes. You become consistent with decisions and actions that create the business ceiling breakthrough. If you are an existing business owner who feels stuck under a revenue ceiling and you want to break through once and for all, I invite you to have a conversation with me. On this call, we will diagnose the unconscious dynamics that are creating the resistance in your business and map out a clear plan to help you break through. Each month, I open up a limited number of spots for founders. If you'd like to apply, go to the link in the description below and book your consultation. And please do share with your other entrepreneur friends if this has served you. And please comment, let me know, what is the resistance that you're facing? What is the battle that you're facing? And let me see whether I can support you. Thank you. It's Singharsan here, over and out.